with us now to lend insight into what we heard from yesterday's hearing on Capitol Hill and a look ahead to what might be coming next is Bart Jansen. He is the justice correspondent and lead political reporter for USA Today. Bart, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony is being described as explosive. It's being described as shocking. What were some of your biggest takeaways from what we heard yesterday?
Well, she had a lot of dramatic details, some involving the security measures, as you mentioned. White House counsel Pat Cipollone warning that Trump should not go to the Capitol. He warned that on January 3rd and again the morning of the 6th, warning that if Trump were to go, if he were to join a mob converging on the Capitol, that they could potentially be charged with every crime imaginable. And so that was one avenue of testimony. There was also, as you say, the evidence. Police had warned that there were weapons, rifles, pistols among people in the mob. So there was that danger, the threat. She also talked about, well, a variety of things. We can talk about more if you'd like to.
You know, now we've heard from Hutchinson. But we haven't heard from her former boss, Mark Meadows. At this point, he has refused to testify, even though he has been subpoenaed. How damning do you think this testimony is, not just for him, but for the former president? And at this point, do you think we will see Mark Meadows testify?
Well, I'd be skeptical we're going to hear from Meadows himself. He initially cooperated with the committee. He provided thousands of texts and emails, documents, but then he stopped cooperating with the committee. He refused to testify, and he has now defied their subpoena. He has been cited by the House for contempt, but the Justice Department has decided not to press criminal charges against him for contempt, as other aides to Trump, political strategist Steve Bannon and former trade advisor Peter Navarro, both face criminal charges. So Meadows is still fighting a committee subpoena to avoid having his more documents released to the committee, have phone records. And so I do not expect him to cooperate. Her testimony does invite his cooperation. I mean, she said a lot of things. She basically portrayed him as sitting on the couch, looking at his phone, not doing much on the day of January 6th. And so if he were to offer his position somehow, I think people would be interested in hearing how he would portray his reaction to the events of January 6th.
I want to move on to criminal culpability here for Mark Meadows, for the former president. How concerned should they be from a legal standpoint? Did any of Hutchinson's testimony put them in jeopardy of legal action?
Well, several legal experts have been saying that, she appears to be helping build the foundation for potential criminal cases. The charges could be obstructing Congress, election fraud, conspiracy to do either of those things. Later in the testimony, Representative Liz Cheney suggested that witnesses were called and encouraged to testify, basically to protect the former president. After the hearing, Representative Jamie Raskin, Democrat of Maryland, said that the committee would investigate witness tampering, potential witness tampering, as another potential criminal case. But again, the committee, Congress, would not press any criminal charges. They would find this information, they would find evidence, and then the Justice Department would have to determine whether to charge Trump or his chief of staff, Mark Meadows, or any other top aides with any crimes.
The Secret Service, in the meantime, has come out in response to Hutchinson's claim, saying that they are willing to testify publicly. What do you make of their claims? Who else might we see testify at this point? And do you think that those claims are an effort to poke holes in Hutchinson's testimony? What do we make of her credibility as a witness?
I think the claims from sources close to the Secret Service are definitely aimed at reducing credibility in her testimony. Former President Trump himself issued a series of statements on social media yesterday saying he was not close to her, he didn't know her very well. He called her accusations, particularly about that tussle in his car, sick and fraudulent. The Secret Service has said that its staffers would testify under oath if called. I suspect the committee will want to talk to them. At the time that one of the Secret Service detail, Robert Engel, is a key figure in this. He was in the car. She testified that Trump lunged at him after perhaps trying to grab the steering wheel of the car to head to the Capitol. He wanted to go to the Capitol. Engel has already testified to the committee, and it was reported at that time that it testified behind closed doors in a deposition. At that time, it was reported that he said there was a dispute about whether they would go to the Capitol. Trump definitely did want to go to the Capitol. That can be difficult under normal circumstances with logistics and security concerns. So they did head their vehicle back to the White House. He returned to the White House. He did not go to the Capitol. So there was at least his intention to go to the Capitol. The Secret Service is apparently disputing whether there was a tussle inside the car. And so getting testimony from Mr. Engel and others would help us fill out the details on what did happen.
Yeah, still a lot of questions there. Justice correspondent and lead political reporter for USA Today, Bart Jansen. Bart, thank you so much for stopping by. We do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.